Hey guys, it's Meg. What's up? What's poppin'? Welcome to the podcast. Some of us scroll on social media and see a certain aesthetic. So let's see what the Coquette aesthetic is about. And I was trying to use the source I normally use for these types of podcasts, which is aesthetics.fandom.com. But let me tell you, there was actually not that much information on this website. And one of the very first things you see is a trigger warning. There is a huge trigger warning on this topic. And apparently there's a lot of controversy. So again, I felt like this was very similar to when I did the Christian Girl Fall, Christian Girl Autumn podcast episode when there was like controversy. And I was like, do I even want to do this aesthetic anymore? But we're going to do it. We're going to talk about it because I think it's important to talk about things and figure out why it's controversial and why it's bad to be controversial, and maybe it's not as bad. I think the origins it's coming from and stems from is very weird. We're going to talk about it. So this whole aesthetic is actually inspired by a book, and not just any book. It was a book that was extremely controversial when it came out, and it's from 1955, and it is called Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. I cannot read my own handwriting. I think that's how you pronounce it. Before we begin, we are going to talk about trigger warnings. So click away if you don't want to listen. What is the trigger warning actually that they gave? Hold the phone 1 second. Okay, I think to make my life easier, hold on, I need to lower that a little bit. Actually just going to read the trigger warning from aestheticsofandom.com. So, trigger warning. The Coquette aesthetic contains references to or depictions of themes including age gaps in relations, themes inspired by the novel Lolita, disorder eating, and yeah, we're not going to talk about that first one really, I don't think. So I think that's good for triggering right now. But yeah, there's your trigger warning. Click off now. You've been warned. Okay, back to the podcast. Basically, summarize this book. It seems like an older man is liking a little girl as child. This aesthetic was inspired by that book in a way. Coquette is a French word meaning an attractive, flirtatious young woman. So there was this here's the story. Here's the tea. I wrote it out of order for some reason. So in 2017, the nymphette, I don't know how to pronounce their community, but they wanted a more appropriate word because they were using the Lolita aesthetic and stuff like that, that word. So they started using Coquette instead because it aged the person. They were no longer like a child, so they were like a woman. And then that's it from this website, because then it just started giving different aesthetics that could be part of this aesthetic. But then I found another source, and it was sumisoro.com, and it's the Coquette aesthetic. All you want to know about it from December 19th of 2024. So we're going to deep dive into what I think people know today as the Coquette aesthetic, what it has evolved and changed into. I think it has evolved and changed a little bit because I honestly had no clue that it came from that controversial book. How many pages is this book? We're getting distracted this podcast episode, but honestly, it's okay because I don't have enough content. I think I do, but I don't. We're going to make a podcast episode, guys. Don't you worry. That's an interesting cover. So it's published in 1940. Why does it have such a high rating? That's scary. What does this word mean? I've never heard of this genre before, and I don't want to repeat it yet in case it's a bad one. Oh, tragicomedy. It's a combination of tragedy and comedy. So this book was published in Paris. Oh my god, there's a whole history.com article on this. On September 15th, 1955. The novel is about a man's obsession with a 12-year-old girl, and it was actually rejected by 4 publishers before somebody decided to publish it. Interesting. I want to read it to see what it's actually about, but I don't want to read it if it's that's all that it's about. Oh, because the nymph is what he called her. That's why the community was called that. Got it. The dots are connecting for me. I don't know if they're connecting for you. But anyways, we're going to talk about this updated, less scary version of Coquette. It is a very romantic and feminine style. It's delicate details like lace, bows, and ruffles. It finds its roots in guess what era? The Rococo era. Guys, we did a whole podcast episode on that era last year, and I mispronounced it all in that episode. I'm pretty sure I just mispronounced it now. But maybe editing Mike can come in and tell us when that episode was. So you can go back and listen to it, because why not? Hey, what's up? It's Editing Meg, and the Rococo era episode was from season 11, episode 10. Thank you for that. And actually not for why not. You know why I should go listen to it? So I can get to 20,000 downloads on my podcast. because I'm close. I don't know how close I am, but I know I'm getting there. I am recording the editing Meg part on February 17th. And at the moment, I am at 18,816 downloads, which Podbean rounded up to 18.9K. This aesthetic blends Lolita fashion from Japan, which is different from the book. Just want to specify that. It's whimsical and elegant, which is crazy because 2 podcast episodes ago, we just did a Whimsical Life podcast. Another one you should go back and listen to. Thanks, guys. It's Lana Del Rey is like a huge part of it, especially recently. Like, just her whole vibe, her music, her makeup, her outfits. For clothing, there's a lot of lace, bows, and soft fabrics like silk, chiffon, and organza. There's floral prints. There's vintage-inspired pieces that are incorporated. So corset tops and puff sleeves. There's ruffle blouses. For shoes, it's a lot of Mary Jane's, ballet flats, and kitten heels. There's a lot of pearl jewelry. And then other dainty accessories like lockets, charm bracelets, and ribbons for hair or headbands. And it's a lot of soft colors, a lot of pastels. A lot of the examples the source was giving was Bridgerton. I feel like we all know of Bridgerton, even if we've never seen it fully. But it's very like elegant, very regal, very pink and girly and flowy. Wow, my next comment was pink and girly. And then what I've seen is I've seen a lot of deers and I've seen a lot of swans. Again, I don't know what is with swans this year. Swans are just appearing everywhere. I feel like they're trending, and I just want to know why. A lot of pink, a lot of bows, a lot of cutesy and girly stuff. And to be honest, that's all I wrote for the aesthetic. Because there wasn't a lot of oopsies. I feel like there wasn't a lot of information out there when I was searching the specific aesthetic. Everything just was repeating. It was just saying there's a lot of lace, a lot of frills, a lot of girliness everywhere. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. I'm also recording this episode after work again, and we know how these episodes go. I know, but it's not my fault with my schedule being all over the place, guys. So I think for all of our sanity, we're just going to move on, and we're going to do our affirmations of the week. Actually, we're not going to do our affirmation of the week yet because I didn't even tell you the whole reason why I'm doing a Coquette aesthetic episode in 2026. I have actually been noticing a lot of Coquette inspired pieces when I go out and about, and I think it is trying to make a comeback or become more relevant. So I am trying to get a little bit ahead of a comeback of the trend, even though I feel like it hasn't fully ever gone away, but I do feel like it's having a resurge right now. So we're going back to the From the Heart by Anna Stark deck. I don't know why I always want to add something else to her name. I also use these so much that I don't even have to look at the box anymore to tell you who they're from. But let's cue some ASMR shuffling that's never ASMR shuffling, but maybe one day it will be. And maybe one day we'll get a card that actually comes out pretty easy as I shuffle. The thing about these ones versus my Frida ones is there's a gloss on this one, so they're very slippery and I feel like they fall. Anyways, how's your guys' day been? Hope you've been having a great day. Hope your weather's been better. Hope the sun's shining where you are. And I hope you guys aren't depresso espresso. You guys bought anything fun lately? I bought a lot of books the other day. I don't know what that noise was. We're gonna ignore it. That wasn't a card falling. I said books, and then I low-key think my dog's at my door. She can wait. I just want a card to fall out of the deck. That was cards falling that time. I literally just dropped 5. So, we're not going to say all 5. I think I'm going to just pick up from this one. Oh, one got left behind. Perfect. That's going to be our affirmation of the week. So, cue the drum roll, please. I trust my inner guidance. My soul knows the way forward. I low-key feel like we've gotten that one before. Is this a first? Maybe. For this podcast episode. But anyways, so the next time that you're scrolling on social media and you start seeing the Coquette aesthetic, or maybe you're in the store and you're shopping and you see them, just know it is a pretty recent trend. It seems to have some controversy about how it originated, but it's girly, it's frilly, and it's pink. That's all I know what I could say about it. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Hey Guys, It's Meg. You can follow Hey Guys, It's Meg _podcast on Instagram for updates and good times. Come back next Monday at 9 a.m. where we're going to talk about how we can romanticize the spring season since spring is coming, guys. Spring is coming. I'm so excited. I'll see you on the flip side. Peace out, Girl Scouts.